Hello, welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, and this week, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. That's right. We're obviously going to be talking about some Mandalorian and Grogu here this week. One of the more... Okay, you're going to try it again. You've done this before. It didn't work out very well. Let's see how it works this time. Okay, you maybe got the sound better, but you still have no idea what the actual beat is.
Yeah, you're right. The sound was better.
That's more.
We'll try to get. Yeah, we'll try it again later.
Maybe by the time Mandalorian and Grogu 3 comes out, you'll probably have it figured out or whatever here. But yeah, obviously that's going to be today's opening spotlight here, talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu. This week's episode is going to be a little bit more of an informative one here, because
informational.
Because you know we're seeing this more and more here. A lot of these properties start off in the streaming services, you know, because of COVID and everything. It's like that. It's hard to know what exactly are you going to need to know going into this movie here. Mm-hmm. So I'll admit I'm going to try and break down kind of the history here of these characters and what I think people will need to know. Okay. I can't guarantee all of this information is going to be relevant. I'm kind of guessing on a few things, and I can't guarantee I'm going to cover everything because you never know. There might be a surprise appearance here.
This could link up with Doomsday. You never know.
Whoa.
It's all Disney.
You just blew my mind.
You never know.
A little bit there.
You never know.
Patton Oswalt called it years ago on Parks and Recreation. So
did he?
Well. Yeah, that's like a whole bit. I'll show the clip later. But yeah, basically what we're doing here is not a full-blown Star Wars timeline breakdown. Other videos have done that, and those are like 2 hours long. Yeah. So we're not going to do that here today. What instead I'm going to try to do is I'm going to break down some of the TV series that have led up to this, some of the moments, and specifically try to focus on some of the characters that have been involved in them that have not been in major Star Wars films before this. So that way, if someone out there is maybe wanting to watch this movie but hasn't seen any of the shows and stuff, you're not going in completely blind at the very least. So yeah, let's just jump into it and see how much of this is relevant. I am going to be curious to see once I do see this movie how much of this is actually going to be. I could be completely off, and
could be irrelevant.
No one in here is going to be showing, or maybe they are actually going to do a really good job of recapping and showing everyone
the characters.
Yeah, introducing the characters and all that sort of stuff here. So, but let's just kind of start things off with Mandalorian season 1. So the main thing you have to know about this is it is set 9 years ABY. This is something that's known in the Star Wars timeline after the Battle of Yavin. Okay. Basically, the final battle where the first Death Star blew up in the first Star Wars movie, that is sort of like the pinnacle moment of Star Wars. So whenever you hear someone talk about the timeline and they say ABY or BBY, they're saying before Battle Yavin, after Battle Yavin. Yeah. So this is taking place 9 years, roughly 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Okay. So we are now 5 years removed after, and so yeah, the rebellion has won, the Empire has fallen. There's still some stuff around and all that sort of stuff, but that kind of gives you where we first introduced this character. That gives you a little context to where we are in the timeline here. Okay. So we get introduced to the character known as the Mandalorian. We later learn his real name is Din Djarin.
Where does
question? Raise your hand. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Question in the back.
Where does episode 7 start? Where is that in the...
That's like...
Is that like a ways in the
That's
future?
Like 20 years.
Okay.
Like, I think it's like 15 years after this.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit...
So it's in between. It says in between, though.
Yeah, in between, but closer to the original trilogy.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't even focus on the sequel trilogy here too much.
I
know it's easy for you.
I was just trying to figure out if it was before or after.
Yeah, I believe Force Awakens is set 20 years.
Okay, and I didn't know
Return of the Jedi. So
I didn't know if they use the same timeline for like canon stuff and not canon stuff, so I didn't.
Well, I mean, you'd have to talk to someone who reads the books, but as far as the movies that are canon in this, then yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we won't worry about.
You know what? I knew eventually you were going to bring this up. I thought it'd come. I thought it would happen sooner. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm actually kind of proud.
I've made strides.
No, you haven't.
I've made. Some would say I've been skywalking.
That might be your most forced pun.
Yeah,
I
had one.
That might be the most forced pun you have ever had on this show.
Because I was gonna say I was like dancing around it or walking around it, and then I was like, Skywalker. But anybody can be a Skywalker. Okay, continue.
Okay, anyways. So that first episode where we're first introduced to the Mandalorian, basically he is part of a tribe known as the Mandalorians, or Creed, or whatever you want to call it. They're basically just a group of
Mandalorians.
They have this special armor. They're usually known for hunting and all that sort of stuff here. He's a bounty hunter. He's out and about. He gets employed to do this job to bring this sort of... He's given very few details. He's just told us like a 50-year-old creature that he has to transport back to this person who's looking for him.
Yep.
Well, he gets there and it's like, oh, it's a little baby. He's like, first he's confused. Wait, it's like the thing said 50. This thing's 50 years old. He's clearly a baby.
It's a little baby.
Well, that's where we were introduced to at the time. We call him Baby Yoda because he is part of Yoda's species.
Yep.
Yoda lived to be like 900 years old, I think, when he dies.
An old guy.
So 50 years old for them would still be a baby. So it kind of tracks there. Now, this is a big moment because he breaks his code by basically not following through with the job. Mm-hmm. He doesn't trust these people. He doesn't want to put this baby in these people's hands.
Yep.
So now he's just kind of taking care of it.
And I believe by that point he'd seen the baby use the Force a little bit. Because like
in that first episode, I don't know if he did.
Maybe not. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he finds him at the tail end of the first episode.
And he
says, it is pretty quickly after that we do start seeing him have Force ability.
And it's just it's small things, but it's.
I mean, he's a baby. He doesn't know what he's doing yet. So. We're going to skip a lot of season 1 here because I'll admit, what I find interesting about season 1 of The Mandalorian is I think it's the perfect show for a non-Star Wars fan because it really doesn't get into like any of the lore until like the tail end of it when they introduce the Darksaber.
Yep.
That's like the first thing that's like, okay, you kind of have to know a little bit more about Star Wars before you get into this. Yeah. Season 2, however, completely throws away that philosophy and really dives into the lore here. So basically, like I said, eventually Din finds out this kid has Jedi powers, so he's trying to figure out, okay, he wants to return the child to a Jedi. That is where a lot of season 2 kind of comes into play here, because at this point now, he's fought the remnants of the Empire. There's still a few stormtroopers. There's this guy named Moff Gideon. He currently holds the Darksaber. He wants the child. Season 2 commences. So again, jumping around a lot here, just trying to hit some main points. The Mandalorian connects with Bo-Katan. Now, she was a big character in the Clone Wars and I think Rebels as well, the animated shows.
The animated one.
So she is also essentially a former Mandalorian. She's kind of roguish, mainly because she actually takes her helmet off.
Yep.
And a few of her other comrades do as well. And I feel like we need to bring that up. It's a big, big no-no to take your helmet off if you are a Mandalorian.
Yep. I don't think you're really allowed to take any of your armor off.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep. At least not in the company of other people.
Yep.
Like they always say, like, has your helmet been taken off against your will or something like that? It's like, no. Like, yeah, if you're in a fight, that's one thing or whatever. But even then, you're supposed to just keep it on. Yeah. Just one of them things.
Yep.
So that's why she's a little roguish here. But he's trying to get some contacts here. He's trying to figure out who these Jedi are. Are there any left? Well, Bo-Katan in Clone Wars was working with Ahsoka Tano. She's like one of the only Force users she knows about. So she's like, okay, I'm going to send you to Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
So he goes to Ahsoka Tano, deals with her a little bit, and then Ahsoka Tano's like, well, I'm not technically a Jedi anymore.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. That's a little bit of a minor spoiler for Clone Wars, I guess, at the very end there, I suppose. But so then she's like, well, I'm going to send you to another location. And he goes to that location. And in that spot, that is where our main character runs into Boba Fett, another very popular original trilogy and prequel, I guess, technically, character as well. At first, there's a little bit of conflict there, but they end up being simpatico. They end up teaming up. More on them later. Again, very quickly going over.
Yes.
I'm trying to condense hours of content into like a 20-minute video here, folks. So please stop me if you have any questions or you think I'm missing anything. So when we're at this one location, basically it's this place that's connected with the Force. Grogu sits on it. Oh, yeah, at this point, I forgot to mention, because Ahsoka Tano was able to communicate with Baby Yoda, that's when we finally learned that his name is Grogu. Many of the fans still call him Baby Yoda because it's cuter.
Yep.
He connects with the Force and basically sends out a message through the Force because the Force just does a whole bunch of stuff. saying, "Hey, I'm a Force user. I need help. Where my Jedi at? Where my Jedi at? Raise your hands or whatever." However, Moff Gideon and his troop, who's still searching for this child, catches up with them here, and this is where they capture the child. And now Mando and Boba Fett have to team up. They get a few other people along with them, including Bo-Katan, and they do this desperate charge to get back Grogu. So now we have round 2 against Moff Gideon, and this is where the Darksaber really comes into play here, where eventually Mando beats Moff. He then gets the Darksaber through combat. And so I'm debating on how much I want to go more into the Darksaber, because I don't think that's going to be a big thing in the movie.
I don't
here.
think so. It'll show up, but
be.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you don't think it is either, I don't know how much we want to spoil of that.
It's good. It'll pop up and be like, "Oh, cool! You have the Darksaber?" Yes, I do, and that'll be it.
Well, because I guess I should also say minor spoiler. So he gets it here at the end of season 2. Eventually, he does give it to Bo-Katan at the end of season 3.
Okay.
As she,
I haven't seen that
so
yet.
I'm kind of jumping. Okay, so I won't dive too much more into the. There's a whole lot of lore with the Darksaber, I guess I should say, especially with the Mandalorians that I won't get into too much here, I suppose. But basically, so yeah, they're kind of trapped on this ship. Seems like things are bad, and then one of the most epic moments in Star Wars occurs. Luke Skywalker comes flying in and saves the day. And in one of the best Star Wars scenes, I think, still to this day. He comes in, messes stuff up, uses the Force, lightsaber, all that. He's got the hood on. He's barely even like looking. He's like no looking, taking down these troopers.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Looking back, that was pretty. I remember watching it, and it was like, that's awesome. It was so cool.
Because, when we last saw Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker when he was younger, the technology wasn't there yet. He couldn't really do this stuff in the original trilogy, really. So
yeah.
Season 2 wraps up with Grogu having a decision to make. He could either stay with Din, or Mando, as we kind of nickname him and all that sort of stuff, or he can go with Luke and learn the ways of the Force and possibly become a Jedi.
Yep.
He decides to go with Luke to learn a little bit more about the Force. But before he does that, he kind of asks Mando to take his helmet off so he can actually say goodbye to his face.
Yeah.
Jin does this because there is a very special connection between these two. There's a bond.
Mm-hmm.
So that has a little bit more of connotations into, or has some repercussions, I guess I should say, into season 3. Because now he has taken his helmet off in front of other people without being forced to. That's that's no.
Yep.
That's a code break. That's a code violation, if you were to say here. But there's a little bit of a time jump here between the end of that and into the next sort of set of stories here. Now, how big of a time jump apparently is debated. I've seen 2 different answers to this.
Okay.
Either A, the Book of Boba Fett, another little mini-series, and Mandalorian Season 3 all take place still within that same year, 9 years, A-B-Y.
Yep.
Or there's a 2-year time jump, and this is actually 11 years after the original Star Wars in the timeline. Apparently no one can actually agree on this. I've seen more people say it's in the 9-year range.
A few say 11.
So it's either within the same year or 2 years later.
Okay.
Not exactly sure.
That's a nice little window to choose from, though.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, Book of Boba Fett comes out. The first half of the season's about Boba Fett. I can't get through that season. I've tried. It's hard to get through. Yeah, second half of the Book of Boba Fett is basically Mandalorian Season 2.5.
Okay.
So Mando's back. He's still got all his armor, although he is not technically a Mandalorian anymore.
Yep.
He's been excommunicated and all that, but he's still going to help out Boba Fett because he's like, hey, you help me with my thing, I'm going to help you with yours. The reason why this is important is because also during that little bit there is a scene that shows Grogu kind of training with Luke Skywalker, and at a certain point, he is asked once again to make a decision. This is going to have to be final here. You can either choose the Jedi way, and we continue our training that way, or you can choose to be a bounty hunter. The choice is up to you. It's a lot to choose for a 50-year-old baby
50-year-old kid.
Yeah, basically, he's basically like a year old, and he's already being told he has to choose a job.
Yep.
I thought high school career class in middle school was tough, but my God. So he ultimately, Grogu decides to go back to Jin and become a bounty hunter. He decides that's the path he's going to take here. So we see a minor reunion of them at the tail end of that. Season 3 is basically them kind of teaming up more, and now Mando trying to be reaccepted into the Mandalorian sort of creed and all that sort of stuff. Long story short, he does get brought back or whatever. It seems like that wasn't really as big of a thing. He just had to do a quick thing, and he just all of a sudden was back.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's back.
It just seemed like that was kind of a plot point that they didn't almost really need. It's like, dude, he won the Darksaber. He's technically the leader of the Mandalorians when you have the Darksaber. I don't know why he was excommunicated to begin with, but whatever. So now he's back accepted. Moff Gideon returns because he escaped after they captured him, and turns out he had a secret base on the planet Mandalore, which is kind of the home base for the Mandalorians, and all that sort of stuff here. Again, not going to get too much into the lore there. Here's where our characters are left off last we see them. The Mandalorian and Grogu, they're teamed up. They're kind of a bounty hunter duo. Din Djarin is back in the Creed. He's part of the Mandalorians again. He's all good to go. The Mandalorians have taken back Mandalore after being chased off it by the Jedi. Again, a lot of lore there from decades ago. Now they're back. They're here. Bo-Katan is now officially the leader of the Creed.
Okay. And
now Mando and Grogu are just going out doing their thing. So that is where we last see them.
They're space cowboys.
Basically.
It's a very good allegorical for Western. It's a Western space story.
If you watch these seasons in The Mandalorian, that so many scenes were set up to look like Western
films.
But just instead of a horse, he's riding a hover bike. But it's exactly the same thing and everything. So
all the tropes, everything.
So yeah, that's where we're at right now. A few other notes and everything I just kind of put here. There are some other characters from some other properties that are going to make an appearance here. For one, there's a character called Zeb, who was introduced in Star Wars Rebels. He did make a cameo in Season 3, but also looks like he's going to be in this movie potentially as well. The best way I'm going to describe him, think of like Chewbacca, but can talk.
Okay.
He's just like a big alien kind of guy. Yeah. He was on the ship that our main characters were in Rebels, and he's just, I don't know, he's just kind of a big helper guy, loyal, but he can actually speak English. So I'm really simplifying him there on that one there. Let's talk about the main villain for this movie, Rhoda the Hutt, voiced by Jeremy Allen White. He is said to be the main villain for this movie. He was actually introduced years ago in the Star Wars canon in the first animated Clone Wars movie. So this was not the show yet, but the Clone Wars movie, he was the baby that was kidnapped by Dooku as part of the main plot.
Really?
Yes, that was Rhoda the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's son. He was a baby at the time. Many years have passed, a couple decades have passed, and now he's all grown up, and he's kind of doing his own thing and everything. Now, he has not taken over his father's empire, because that's what Boba Fett essentially did in Book of Boba Fett. So looked like you had either a comment or a question.
No, it's just, that's funny. No, I'm excited. I heard him talking, and I didn't know that was him. They do a great job with the voice, so it'll be, I like the Hutts.
Yeah. He's all grown up now.
Yeah.
The little baby that was kind of annoying that Anakin and Ahsoka saved in that animated movie. Yeah. Now he's all grown up doing his own thing, hosting fight clubs, classic Hutt stuff.
Classic Hutt stuff.
Just to kind of wrap up here, like I said, where is this all going to be taking place and everything?
Space.
Okay, yes. But as far as the timeline, depends on who you ask. Okay. This seems like it's going to be like a year or so after the events of Mandalorian Season 3. Okay. So this is either 10 years after the Battle of Yavin or 12 years.
Gotcha.
Not really sure how much of that's going to play into it, though. Yep. But that's kind of where we're at right now. Grogu is by his side. He has powers of the Force, but he is not a Jedi. There's a little bit of a stipulation.
There is a stipulation, yep.
Same as Ahsoka. She has the powers of the Jedi, but she never technically completed her Jedi training, so she kind of left on her own before. Again, has the Force, not a Jedi. So.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah, all right. That was a lot.
That's a lot. But
and again, I was super condensing it down.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there. But I think I'm hoping, and I have to believe, even if you haven't seen all the shows or the movies or the animated stuff, you'll be able to go watch this and still have fun and enjoy it.
I think they are going to kind of treat it as it's not really connected to these stories, but I'm just trying to cover as much ground as we could here, just in case they do. Again, knowing my luck, they're going to actually introduce the Darksaber or whatever. And I'm going to be like, I should have talked about the Darksaber.
They could have some... Luke Skywalker could be in this again.
He could. The timeline still works for that.
So
he's still around doing his thing and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't think he ever died, did he?
In Last Jedi he did, because that is canon. So it happened. So look, the sooner you accept it, the sooner we can just move on.
Ignorance is bliss, my friend.
Hey, that's my saying. I say that. That's my thing. Do you consider yourself an avid trading card fan? Or are you looking to start your own collection? Then be sure to check out the Card Farmers of Marshall, Minnesota. Whether you're into Pokemon, sports, Magic the Gathering, or anything in between, the Card Farmers have just the thing for you. The Card Farmers of Minnesota, the perfect place for any trading card fan, located on 109 North 3rd Street in Marshall, Minnesota. Anyways, let's move on to the weekly preview here. Actually, really, the theme of streaming service shows going to theaters is that's kind of the theme of the episode here. Because we got another one here, actually, believe it or not, coming out Wednesday, May 20th. So already out by the time this video is out here. Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan Ghost War. This one is going straight to Prime Video, though, however, but it is a feature-length movie. Technically, the 6th Jack Ryan movie, but this is the first movie that's part of this continuation of the character.
And I know they had like a season was on Prime, wasn't it? Or
they actually had 4 seasons.
Yeah, they had quite a few. Well, it was funny because that was like the first thing I remember seeing in John Krasinski post The Office, or like I should say like big main character. You're the face of it, and he's like an action star. So it's kind of just funny, but he's also a really good action star.
I feel like The Quiet Place
was that
came out before
the show?
Was 13 Hours also?
13 hours, actually. Yeah, that might have been one of the first
13
ones.
hours was good.
You'll notice we don't have a Carter cam this week. It's a little bit of a different week here. I don't know if we mentioned that. A little bit different setup here.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just going to take a quick... I'm going to show us side by side here. Okay, so yeah, Quiet Place came out 2018. That would have been about the same time. I think that first season of that Jack Ryan show came out as well. But yeah, I do believe Carter's correct. I think 13 hours did come out before that, and that was kind of his big thing.
Yeah, and that movie made me not like Hillary Clinton.
Okay. To each their own, I suppose. But yeah, let's talk about this movie here. Not really a good way to segue here, I suppose, now. But basically, after leaving the CIA, Jack Ryan is pulled in for one last job as a rogue black ops unit that everyone thought had disappeared has returned and is causing some chaos.
It's wreaking havoc.
Oh, yeah, that's like the name of the group, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's like, I feel like it's something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, we got another... we're just going to pull you in for one last job, one last ride sort of thing here. So
family.
Yeah. Family. If Vin Diesel makes a cameo in this, I don't know what we're going to do. Oh, boy. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about TV series transitioning to movies. How much do you need to know? From what a quick Google search has helped me realize here, it seems like you don't really need to have seen the show before this movie.
Yeah, it's your classic, your spy's retired. He's got his family and his life ahead of him. We need you for one more job. And then things go sideways, and they end up saving the day. It's the same song and dance, but I like John Krasinski. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, like I said, he's left the CIA, so it seems like all of his whatever he was dealing with in the show is all wrapped up.
Yep.
So yeah, it just seems like we're just gonna do. I've seen some people kind of describe it as like an extended finale or something like that, or I don't know. But that's one way to look at it, I suppose. But let's move on here to the other big ticket item here. Like I said, another series going to a movie theater here. Mm-hmm. Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu premiering Friday, May 22nd. This one's rated PG-13. Like I said before, a couple years after the fall of the Empire, Din Djarin and Grogu are working together as bounty hunters to rid the galaxy of evildoers.
Evildoers.
Yeah, I didn't really know what else to call them because I guess they are remnants of the Empire is kind of what's implied here. But it's like, I don't know, when your boss gets blown up in a Death Star, I feel like you're not really an organization.
Yeah,
anymore.
you're just kind of there.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, it's not official.
It's Empire in name only.
Yeah,
there's not really an Empire anymore. But,
yeah,
like maybe I've said before here, or I think I talked about this during our summer movie preview. First Star Wars movie to hit theaters in about 7 years.
Yeah, it's going to do well, I think.
Yeah, so like we kind of mentioned before here, it is going to be interesting to see how this one does, I think, in this new storytelling format. When we're talking about the Mandalorian seasons 1 through 3, those were 8-episode seasons, roughly 20, 25 minutes, a little bit shorter than I think when we see in a lot of these streaming service series and all that sort of stuff. So they were very quick, very efficient stories in their storytelling. Now we've got an over 2-hour long film. Okay, so I don't think this is what's going to happen, but do we almost worry this is like when you take a sprint runner from track and field and make him do endurance? Someone who's only used to doing 100, 200 meters, now you got to run a mile.
I think a lot of it depends on the director. Is it the same director as
Jon
the shows?
Jon Favreau is directing this, as he did with the series and everything, and Dave Filoni is part of it as well, obviously. Yeah. So
I think it'll be fine. It's a cash grab. I think it'll be fine. They'll make a little bit of money.
They better make more than a little bit of money. I had to place second in my top 10. So,
yeah, I don't. I wouldn't have put it that high.
God, I really hope it is. I also want to say, just as a side note here, I don't know how I didn't notice this, but I'm now realizing I didn't pick a single May movie. So this is the first. Well, I guess this is a May movie. I haven't picked a single movie that came out these first 3 weeks, so I've been keeping track of the ones that are currently in the top 10. Yep. Right now, it's just like 2 big ones and then a lot of little ones that made like $5 million. But like, I have not got a single point technically because none of my movies have come out yet.
And I've got a point because
technically you have a point. So as a little summer movie update, he's currently leading. We'll do an actual update one of these weeks here. But I just realized that
dubs.
If anything beats me during this competition, it's the fact that I didn't pick anything from May. And I put 2 August movies.
Yeah.
Why did I do that? Why did you let me do that, Carter?
That's when everybody's in the field and getting back to school.
I'm blaming you for this. Why didn't anyone stop me? I put 2 August movies and I wanted to win.
You also put The Odyssey at 7, so.
Yeah, I'm standing by that. Let's move on to the other one here this weekend. Passenger, also coming out to theaters, rated R. On a stretch of road, something mysterious is going on as people keep disappearing from their cars. The locals simply call the entity the passenger.
The passenger.
And you don't stop. You don't stop for the passenger.
They all stopped and you die.
Yeah. You stop and if anything, this is going to make less and less good Samaritans in the world right now.
Yeah.
A lot less people are going to be stopping for hitchhikers.
We need good Samaritans.
We do. We very much do.
I think it looks good. Looks fun. It's I don't want to say a new idea because that idea has kind of been around, but I'm curious to say if they play more like demonic or you can do something and you'll get it free. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. The trailer starts with a very scary statistic about a bunch of people going on road trips and how so many of them disappear and all that. I did look this up. Turns out it's not true. They made it up for the movie.
Well, I don't think that many. I think if they would have went like that many people go on a trip every year, believe that. That many people, if they say disappear, don't like that. But if they say never come home because of car accidents, moving places, like any of those reasons, I can get behind it a little more. But it's like that many people don't go missing from road trips.
Yeah.
If you're going to add in, missing from parks and from schools and from this and from that, like everything, yeah, it makes sense. But it's no.
I'm just going to hold on to the fact that it's not true and just leave it at that because when I first saw this, when I first saw this trailer and I saw that, I was like, I'm never going on a road trip ever again.
Well, that's what I thought, but then it was like, okay, so you're telling me 1,000 people a day go missing on road trips?
Yeah, I maybe should have read the fine print on that too. I just saw the numbers and kind of got freaked out.
I was like,
which is the point. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to scare me.
Yeah,
so.
There's no way that many people go missing a day from road trips. Maybe go missing a day. I'm not arguing that. Or die a day.
I was going to say maybe worldwide.
Yeah,
maybe.
But not from road trips. I don't know anybody that's got went missing during a road trip.
You need to watch more true crime then.
Well, I've seen gone missing in parks. I've seen people go missing at fast food joints. I've seen people go missing at gas stations, but not on a road trip.
I think considering how they made up this to begin with, I think we're debating this.
You know what?
Here.
Get it out of here.
Yeah, take it out of the trailer. Your movie's coming out in like 3 days.
Yeah.
So take it out of the trailer.
Get it out of the trailer.
Question for you. If you and I were taking a road trip and, I got messed up by some demon or whatever, crashed through the windshield, all that sort of stuff, would you go back for me or would you drive off?
I would use you as bait to catch the entity.
Oh, okay. That's a different answer than I thought you were going to say.
What do you mean?
Well, the options were either go back for me to save me or drive off.
Well, I'd go back to save you, so I could use
me as bait. Okay.
Yeah, because spirits, they need to be. You can't. A spirit just can't go into everything. You have to have a receptacle that is accepting of the spirit. And if you already got possessed or eaten or something, then it can happen again.
For the record, I would drive off.
No, Nick, you're gonna leave me?
Yes, because someone has to tell the story. We're not going to be able to figure out how. Well, even then, I still have to drive away to get the film elsewhere and upload it to YouTube and help this channel grow. And I will tell your story greatly. But look, long story short, don't leave us two on a road trip together, just alone.
Yes,
we're going to need someone else so we can use them as bait.
Yes.
Mitch, what are you doing next weekend?
Yeah.
Is Mitch around?
Yeah, we're going to find him. But if something happens to me and you have to tell my story, can you wear an eye patch when you tell it? Like the guy from 300?
I mean, that's a weird request, but, as a dying request, I will respect that. Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on to one last movie here coming out this weekend. We got Ladies First coming straight to Netflix, also rated R. A powerful ladies' man CEO seems to have it all until he gets a little bonk on the head, and now he's woken up in an alternate universe where the gender power dynamic has completely flipped and the women basically run the world. Now he must find a way to navigate this new reality and learn some lessons about his ways. We got Sacha Baron Cohen in this one and Rosamund Pike as the two main leads in this one here.
Which is kind of funny because I didn't know Sacha Baron Cohen did like horror movies. I didn't know that.
I don't think this was meant to be a horror movie, but
what do you mean?
I think it's pretty much marketed as a comedy.
Oh, I thought he woke up and like women were running the world.
I mean, oh boy. You're really going to make me edit this one.
And we're cutting all of that.
That was very good, though.
I would like to state that those are the thoughts of Ryan Meyerberg and do not reflect the ideas of Omni Entertainment in general.
All right. So wherever we come back from cutting this.
No, I'm keeping that. You're going to lie in that one.
I think this actually looks interesting because I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he pushes the boundaries with some of his films. And I think this could be really funny. I like Rosamund Pike too. I like her a lot. So this might be one of the first made for Netflix movies that I'm actually really excited for because I like Sacha Baron Cohen. He can make anything funny.
Yeah. See, now I'm just curious if he's actually ever been in a horror movie because I don't think he has. And the closest thing I've found so far is Les Miserables because it's scary for all the actors to have to sing throughout.
If you think Les Miserables is scary, this is a nightmare.
This
is a Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think we talked last week about you not chewing ice into the mic. That's scary.
That's true too.
I would say the scariest part about Les Miserables is Russell Crowe singing opera the whole time.
Yeah,
I know he is a singer, but there's singers and then there's opera singers.
Yeah,
Russell Crowe ain't one of them. Sorry.
That's true.
Like I said, or like you were saying, I do think this is actually interesting. Believe it or not, this is actually a remake of a well-known French film that I will not be trying to attempt to pronounce because
you can do it.
No,
I have faith in you.
Okay, I gotta find it again. Okay, so the French comedy was called Je ne suis pas un homme facile. I don't know if I needed to add the accent in that.
That's pretty good.
Watch this. There's someone who knows French, and I was like way off.
I think
the un is silent.
I think it was great.
Okay, well, like I said, it was a remake, so that was just the main point I was trying to.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see how people rate this, especially with our political and ever-changing climate in America right now. Hopefully, people can see this and laugh about it and get the message that they're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, call me a cynic. I do believe this movie will probably add a little perspective in that sense. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be changing any minds.
I agree.
I think you're either on board or you know what this movie's trying to say already, or you just are not going to listen to it, I feel like. But
see, they should have made it a horror movie. And then people would be like, a horror movie? What's this?
It's basically Get Out.
Because this is it's a comedy. Okay. There's nothing like unique about it.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, I think it is trying to look like the real world though that we are in, and trying to like put in that perspective. But yeah, you're right. Like it's not like a Get Out level like social commentary thing. It is just kind of like being a comedy. Here's the premise. Yeah. So let's wrap things up here with some number one recommends. I'll start us off real quick. Earlier on this week was like the 25th anniversary of Shrek coming out, so I did post a little movie ranking for that.
Are you ever going to post the video of you in the Shrek costume dancing?
That doesn't exist. I don't know why you're saying that. That does not exist. Okay. I don't know why.
I was just curious.
Now someone's going to make some like AI image of me doing that or whatever, and that's going to I'm going to have to shut down the internet because of that. But anyway, so what I was trying to say here was I did post a list of all the Shrek movies ranked, and it reminded me how much I loved Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So I know for sure I've recommended that on this channel before, but I'm going to recommend it here again.
It's so good.
Yeah. I had some people kind of pushing back me on that one, saying that Shrek 2 probably should have still been that top spot. And I don't know if they're necessarily wrong, but I stand by what I say. So
the wolf's cool. Death is cool.
Yeah,
in this movie.
He is really cool in that one.
In that movie.
Ryan, what are you recommending this week?
I'm going with the classic Obsession. I think this film, like other films in the past couple of years, has an opportunity to be held in a very high regard, should say. This is a very well done scary movie. I was initially scared a couple of times. Actually got me a couple of times. I thought it was very well done. Kind of a similar premise to a lot of other movies, but they show it in a very gross and dark way. And there's a couple of scenes in there that really got my goosebumps going, like with the mummy when the toe kind of like that was like, whoa.
Didn't need to be reminded about that one, so thanks for that.
Yeah, and I'm curious, there's a couple of scenes I think they maybe shot backwards to get the effect that they got on camera, and I'm really interested to see how they do that. I'll probably watch it behind the scenes at some point, but it was very well done.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Be on the lookout. Next week, we've got a new special project we're putting here on the channel. I'm trying to think of what would be a good clue for it. We're putting it together brick by brick.
Oh!
I guess is a way to, is a little reference to what we're doing there. Regardless, whatever it is, make sure to give that a watch next week here on this channel, and subscribe if you haven't already, so that way you don't miss out on it. For myself, Ryan, and Carter, kind of actually in the studio here. Woo! We usually cut to him. I gotta hold up.
Get a pick.
Okay, let's do that again.
Get a
for
pick.
Myself, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and may the force be with you.